Hi, everyone. Very nice to see such a turnout and have such a nice, warm introduction. Okay, this is me. I specialize in both career coaching and also relationship coaching. Flourishing Thoughts, as you can see at the top, is the name of my business. And as mentioned before, I specialize in people who feel stuck in their careers or relationships. And what I help do using design thinking and positive psychology is help you build the resilience you need. For the topic of this talk, a lot of it is about the emotional and well-being side to changing careers, because I think a lot of the time that is left out. Okay. You can see a QR code which will take you to my website if you want to know more information about me. And if there's any questions that you have, we'll have a short time at the end to ask them. But you can also reach out to me, and I promise to get back to you by email or text or phone, whichever suits you. Sorry about this. Needs to be on. Okay. What do you think these statistics mean? They've all been taken from Central Statistics Office, which is based in Ireland, but also in parts of the US and some from the UK. And what I've done is taken averages to represent change in careers. How about 1/3? What do you think that number means? Feel free to shout out if you can. I know it's quite a loud place. And you might not have a microphone. Any thoughts? So, people that are happy in their workplace, that's not a bad guess. 1/3 is the amount of your life that you spend at work, in a job, for most people. Okay, so the reason I'm telling you that is because it does affect your well-being and the way you are in many different ways. Okay? And research has actually shown that people who are unhappy at work are affected by stress more and feel more pressure at work and suffer from more of a family-work imbalance in their life. The fact that you're all here today is a good sign that you're actually aware of the fact and want to do something about it. Sorry about that. 55% is actually the amount of people who are happy in their jobs as of 2023, so this could change. So that means half of the people are not happy. So you're not alone. And of course, if you look around, there's quite a lot of people here. So it is quite normal to feel like this. Don't feel like there's something wrong because you chose the wrong career. 82%, that's the percentage of people after the age of 45 who successfully changed careers and feel that they are more successful in their new jobs. So if it works for people over 45, if I look around the room, most of you look under 45, so that should be even higher for you guys. 12, how about that one? Any guesses? See some people want to talk. Do you want to shout? 12 is the average number of jobs people have in a lifetime. So, do you think that number will increase or decrease in the future? It's expected to increase. Some people think it will double because of job security. Okay, 91% is the percent of people who went self-employed and would not want to go back to work for a company. So if you've ever had the idea, I'll start my own business, for most people it works out, so worth a thought. Anyway, I'm going to focus on three main topics for today's talk. How you might navigate deciding on a new career or a new job, the importance of skills-based CVs, and how you might deal with fear and a lack of confidence along the way. Because believe it or not, the third one is what affects people most and prevents them from doing anything about it. People decide it's easier to complain to other people that they're not in the right job, right? It's just easier. If we get time, I'll cover networking, but I'd love to hear some of your questions at the end. Okay, so where do we begin to start with deciding a new career? Some of you may have seen this model before. Can you just raise your hand if you've seen this? Okay, that was lower than I thought, which is good. Ikigai is a Japanese concept, and it's based on finding meaning and joy in what you do. Okay, and they believe it comes down to 4 different factors. I don't think I have a laser. What you love doing, your interests, and what you value. What you're good at, skills. What you can be paid for. Unfortunately, you need to make money at the end of the day, so I don't want you all to leave your jobs after this session and then just be focused on what you love and be okay. No, sometimes it's easier to stay where you are and work towards that. And of course, what the world needs, which, as you can imagine, in the future is likely to change with AI and technology a lot faster than I think we predict. Ideally, you want to get somewhere in the middle, if possible. But that might be difficult. So if you can get 2 or 3 of these areas overlapping, that is ideal. So where do you go with this? Career assessment tools, there's a range that you can use to help you in this process to figure out skills, values, and the things that you're interested in. You may have heard of some of these before, Holland Code, Big 5. What I would suggest is using a range of them, not just one. These are all free tools. Okay, I'm not trying to sell you anything. And each of them tell you different information about different areas and skills. That's why it's good to do a range of them. Okay? Even Ikigai has something on their website where you can do an assessment. And the National Career Service one is very detailed and relevant to the Irish market. Like I mentioned before, you're looking for an overlap where possible. Okay? Because, if I give you an example, something I love. I came from an English language teaching background, and part of that is finding people's mistakes in their language, right? I became very good at this as a skill. Do I enjoy it or value it? No, I don't like pointing out people's mistakes. I don't like people to point out my mistakes. So there's a difference between what you're good at and what you like. And a lot of the time we think what we like is what we're good at. Okay? So just be aware that there are some differences. Finally, it always helps to talk to someone about your options. Why? People are very good at helping you find your blind spot. If you're not familiar with what a blind spot is, it's something that you don't know about yourself. And that might be a skill. I always believed when I was growing up I was a bad listener. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are bad listeners, so I probably wasn't far from the truth. But over time, when I've decided that I wanted to help people and become a career coach, and I told people, they were like, oh, you'd be very good at that because you're a good listener. And over time, when people began to tell me this, it started to change my mind. So people are very good at pointing out what you don't know. You can reflect all day on yourself, but you'll only get so far. Okay? So look for ways that you can speak to people about what you're aiming towards. Think of one small step that you can take today. I know this may be quite overwhelming and feels like there's a lot of different things you need to do. But it might help if you just pick one of these options, one career assessment tool, just to do this weekend. And maybe you try another one next week and see what you have from there. Again, if you have any questions, we'll have time at the end, and we can answer them. Moving on to skills-based CVs. Can you put your hand up if you're familiar with what I mean by skills-based CV? Okay. Yes. What's the difference between a normal CV and a skills-based? I'll show you a picture just to help. I'm not sure if you can see that at the back. Are you able to read the text? Wow, great eyesight. This is what a skills-based CV would look like. What you'll notice is the top section there, instead of experience first, you would emphasize skills, okay? And the difference here is, what's the biggest problem when people want to change jobs or careers that they have? Come on, shout it out.
The right skills for that job.
Skills, yes. Anything else similar to skills? I hear it. Experience, right? So this helps get around that obstacle, because what you'll notice here with Tanya is having these skills here. Immediately, it might look like, you know, she has something to offer rather than focusing on what you don't have. Being in career coaching clinics, not just today, people often say to me, I want to change job, but I don't have experience. Okay, this helps get past that obstacle. What you'll notice here is the focus on them. And on the bullet points, I'm not sure if they're clear enough for you, but I'm going to read out one for you. Regularly maintained a 95% customer service feedback rating at Sandy's Cafe. Now, if everybody says that they have, actually, raise your hand. Who has customer service skills in this room? Anybody? Quite a lot. Now, if it's a job in customer service, do you think everybody's going to say they have customer service skills? You're not the only ones, unfortunately. If I'm a hiring manager or a recruiter, how am I going to choose between all of these people that say they have customer service skills? Who do I believe? It helps if people can prove it, right? And this is what a skills-based CV does. It focuses on impact. What do we mean by impact? Is achievement from using a skill. Okay? So if we go back to Tanya here, she's shown impact. It's easy to do with numbers to show evidence of something. However, this might not be possible with every skill. And that's okay, because then you might look at things like training that you did in your past job and other accomplishments that may not be numbers. So you'll notice here, okay, there's numbers in all of these ones, but it's okay to still have an accomplishment that doesn't have a number on it. But if you can think of numbers to support where possible, try and use them. Okay, and I've seen a lot of you take pictures of this CV, but, oh, sorry, I'll come to that next. How do you decide which skills to choose? You want to focus on ones in a job's description. I get many people coming to me, and the first thing they ask me is, can you look at my CV? And I'm like, I can, but what job are you applying for? And then quite often people might say, I don't know. So I'm not sure what to do with that, because in different jobs you need different skills, right? So focus on the job description first. You've probably heard it before. Tailor your CV for each job. Now, the beauty with a skills-based CV is you don't need to do as much changing, but you might want to focus on the top 5 skills or so that are in the job description. If you really struggle with this, you can make use of AI and ChatGPT, and you can put a lot of information and ask it to summarize the top skills for you. So that might be a starting point, okay? I've seen a lot of you take pictures of this CV, but what I would advise is just be careful with the templates that you see online, because you don't know if Tanya got a job with this CV. She could still be looking for a job, right? Just be careful, because no CV would be perfect, and it's like a work in progress. You're constantly looking to update it. Is there any information on that CV that you don't need? They should have given you all mics. No, that would be chaos.
Yeah, the address.
Address? Yeah. Do hiring managers need to know exactly where you live? Probably not. I see some people put their date of birth on the CV. Now, when you're changing career in midlife, people worry about being too old. I've already had 3 people tell me that this morning, that they're too old for stuff. I was older than one of them. Anyway, if you're worried about age, then don't tell a recruiter or a hiring manager your age. Makes sense, right? Just think of the information that you're providing. A long time ago, I think it was expected, and you saw it on templates, right? But be careful with the templates you see. Always just see that they're not perfect and they're a work in progress. But this might be a good starting point. In case you were wondering which skills might prepare you for the most, if you're not sure what job you want to go into, and you want to think of the future, technology, AI, there are top 5 skills that are in demand in the Irish market at the moment. Can you guess what any of them are? Did somebody... No?
Multitasking, for example.
Multitasking? I think that's a good one. Any others? Think of technology in the future. Attention to detail. Okay, again, this was from just different surveys will show different skill sets, and it depends on the country. So what I've done is taken the 5 from the most commonly mentioned. This is useful if you're not sure what kind of career to go for. How or where can you develop them? There are a few places. You might start with your current workplace and see if they have any funding opportunities. Half of the time, they don't tell you about the funding opportunities. You kind of have to find out and ask for them. I was very curious in my last job, and what I needed to do was give them a reason to give me money, right? It's a negotiation. They're not just going to give me money if I ask for it. Life's not that easy. So it might be offering to do something that will benefit the department or the team. What I offered was to do some training, a way of sharing what I learned from what I did a course in. Something simple, something very easy to do, and this is just one example. But I was able to persuade them to give me the money because it was benefiting them. Don't focus on how it benefits you, focus on how it benefits them. If you want to be a good negotiator. LinkedIn Learning. My last workplace didn't tell me about LinkedIn Learning, but I found out it had a subscription to it. I understand it can be expensive, so see if your workplace has it first. Google courses and Coursera, these are all free courses. You do have to pay for certificates, but you may not need the certificate. If you have the skills and you can put it on your CV, then that gets around that obstacle. And I would say with ChatGPT in the future, maybe play around in your job right now and see if it can do one task for you each week, just to see. Because the thing is, AI will take jobs, unfortunately, but the people that will be best off are those who know how to use it, right? ChatGPT or OpenAI is not perfect, but you need to be using it to know when it's not perfect. And it depends on the instructions you give it. Okay, moving on to my last point, dealing with fear or lack of confidence. Unfortunately, changing jobs for everybody is uncertain, and there is insecurity. It's nice having a job that pays the bills, I won't lie. It is a very basic need. So I don't want you to come away leaving your jobs and going, ikigai, ikigai, running around the place. No. Be smart about it, because if you do leave your job, you have that extra pressure of paying the bills on top of finding a job. So make it easy as possible for yourself. But know that whatever you do, this is to be expected. Maybe even in your current job, you're not sure how secure it is in the future, because a lot of jobs will become less secure. And especially with Generation Z, a lot of people have an idea of staying in a job for less. So times are changing. What can we do to help that? I've put hope and fear together. If you're not sure why, the way I see it is hope and fear are normally like opposites, and they affect our motivation. If you fear something, what it means is you tend to move away from the goal that you want. Why are you wanting to leave your jobs today? If you say, I'm leaving because I hate my boss, that would be a negative reason, a fear-based reason. On the other hand, if you wanted to leave your job because you want to improve your skill sets, that's a positive thing. So that would be a hope-based motivation. So I want you to take a minute now to think of why you're here and what's the reason? Are you motivated by hope or fear? Basically, if it's fear, you're running away from something. If it's hope, you're running towards it, right? Which one do you think is easier in the process? Hope and running towards it, right? So it might be a case of thinking why you want to leave your job and just thinking, okay, what am I looking for or what am I trying to avoid? Okay. It might not be easy at first, but I wouldn't skip this part because it does affect your motivation. If somebody is motivated by fear, do you think they are more confident or less confident than someone motivated by hope? And confidence shows in body language and in many ways before you even get to tell people you're confident. Again, that's a skill that a lot of people put on their CVs, right? Yeah, and just one more thing about hope is it's to do with vision and pathway. What does this mean? Vision is basically a goal that you're running towards. If you're leaving your job, but you're not sure, if you don't have a goal in mind, it's going to be much harder to be able to feel good about it, right? It's going to add to that uncertainty, that insecurity that you're feeling. And we don't want that. I've spoke to some people already today that tell me, you know, they want to leave their job, but they're not sure what to do. Is that a goal? Not really, and it's not an easy one to be able to say, I did that, right? So you've got to make sure your goal is as specific as possible if you can. Pathway, you'll run into obstacles. You're not going to be able to change that. But what you can do when you get an obstacle is you find another path, right? And there will be obstacles. There will be a lot more obstacles than normal. It's easier to stay in your jobs, right? So you just have to think of what have I not tried before, if that helps. And just a little bit about confidence. I know this triangle might be a bit overwhelming. There's a lot of information on it. If you remember anything from today, just remember what's on the triangle here. Perspective, that's what we just talked about already, with being fear or hope-based and how you see a situation. Self-advocacy is being able to, if you have a problem, you tell somebody or you ask for help. That's what we mean by advocacy, speaking up for yourself. How does this work? Well, there's different strengths. If you're not afraid to speak up about a problem you have, that's showing a strength of courage or bravery. Authenticity, that just means, are you in a job with doing something that you value? Because if you don't value what they do, it's not going to work. You'll never see me work in finance, for example, because I know that there's a massive divide in wealth. So I would find it hard as something to value, to be able to do that job to the best of my ability. And resilience is when you do get an obstacle, you don't just give up. But that can also be unhealthy. What resilience actually means is being able to grow from that situation. We all have setbacks, but it's what you learn from them to not do the same next time. So if it is speaking up about your needs sooner, that might be an example. Moving over to self-efficacy, that's just how much you value yourself, okay? So that's to do with your expertise, your skills, and experience. So my main point here is if you're missing one of these on the side of the triangle, that might be a reason you're not feeling confident. So think, which one are you holding back, and which action will help you today get you where you need to be? And it could be a different range. Environment is just the situation you're in. I'm confident when it comes to helping people with their careers, but if you ask for me to give financial advice to a multinational company, I'm not going to be as confident, right? So it depends on what area you're in. I realize I'm coming towards the end of my time, so I'm going to skip the networking part. It is important to do. If anything is unclear, I'm going to give a couple of minutes to ask questions now, but I understand that you might not get the time to ask what you need. So what I would say is, that is a QR code that will take you to my website. I'm more than happy to follow up any questions that I didn't answer today.